A warm good evening to each one of you over here. Thank you, Dr. Sandeep. It's lovely to hear something about yourself at about 5 in the evening in this place. It's nice when somebody speaks about you, then you read about yourself. And as a communicator, this is one thing I have learned, both the hard way and the nice way. I love the title for today, which is Chances and Consequences. I think my life, actually, when Anu called me, I sat back and I actually took time to see what were the chances in my life and what were the consequences, good or bad. So without much ado, I'll just start. This whole presentation is my story on chances and consequences. What I felt, what I think is what I wanted in life, and not the hard way. So, usually, choices makes you stand at a crossroad. Either you're confused or you think you can go the way that you want to go. And that's very important. Especially, I see a lot of parents, I see a lot of youngsters. And I think for both the parents and youngsters, this is very, very important to understand. You want to go the right way or you don't want to go anywhere. Choice is yours. But you need to be ready. So, I like to start some of the presentations with a small definition because I believe when we talk about some topics like this, it's good to have an overview, or it's good to understand in a common language what it means. To me, choices is an act of choosing between two or more possibilities. I know it's very simple, but it's the truth. And I have been in that stage for many of my chances which turned consequences both ways. It's also the power of choosing because you have no option. So this is the chance. Die, or do. The 3 Ds. You need to get into it full-heartedly. The third is, I took it as an opportunity or a privilege of choosing freely, freedom of choice. And mind you, I think the third definition broadly applies to my whole life on choices. So, usually for many people, choices is seen as a building block. For example, if you're asked to walk or jump down over here, it's a mental block. How can they expect me to jump? Without looking, there are stairs that I could go down and questioning. And that is something, a simple lesson in life, and we just follow what is being told. Here is it, last chance, do it or don't do it. It also impacts your personal and professional life because today, if somebody asked me to jump from here to there and I didn't do it, it could impact. The impact could be somebody telling me she doesn't know how to jump. And me thinking, of course, I'm not going to jump because I don't want to go with the fracture. So a lot of time, chances leaves you in a juxtaposition where you don't know whether you have to do it. Could affect both personal and professional relationship with someone. If you do not see through, every moment in your life is a chance. For me, every day when I get up, I list out what are the chances I have. I do the same job, but what is the novelty I can bring? What are the pros and cons? How will I handle it? And if I don't see through it, and I want to tell this to all the youngsters here, look at every chance. Don't blink if you cannot see the chance. You need to look at it. Last, these choices gather and then define life's trajectory. My story on extracurricular activities. When I was in college, I studied in Bangalore. I was very fond of extracurricular activities, debate, dance, singing, zero at everything. Dance, 2 left feet, but I was a die-hard. I would get on the stage and tell the teacher, I want to be a tree over there. Give me something green, I'll just do this. And that's what I did. And then singing, absolutely nonsensical singing. But I used to be a chorus singer and stand at the back and just like a fish, open, close, open, close. I sang with the group. What I sang, I don't know. What others heard. But I think where my heart went was for debate, quiz, and general knowledge. I said, I've tried everything. as a youngster in my college. I mean, a little older than what you students are here. And I said, okay, I've heard people telling, hey, she speaks well. I said, okay, maybe that's something. She can answer questions. Oh, that's maybe something. So I said, I'm glad I took these chances to explore what I think will be good for me professionally, personally, and what others would see as she's good. And that's what I did. I turned all my failures in dancing, singing, a bit of my debate and everything into something positive. How? Dancing, I'm not a dancer, but I learned to be a team player. Today, I believe that I'm a good team player. I take a lot of trainings on what it takes to be a team player. Believe me, dance taught me, group dance, not solo dance. Singing. What is singing? It's got to be musical. It's got to be lovely for the ear. But mine was not like that. But I said, I still will do it. What did it teach me in life? I may not be good in everything, but I'm going to try my level best. One lesson I learned from a dear friend of mine when I said, I want to learn singing. She said, go ahead and learn. Who told you not to learn? I said, what will others think? Are you going to learn singing to be a singer, to perform, or for your own joy? I took 2 steps back. Actually, I don't want to be a professional singer who wants to win prizes. I just want to shout out. I just want to sing. And I know that's the toughest time my singing sir had. Only thing he did was not take a stick and beat me. Such a bad singer. But I told him, sir, you have to come every day because I have to sit in front of you and I pretend to sing. And I did it. But I think one teacher who saw in me that I was good in debate and things was, again, I was a failure in that. But I took a chance. I used to come on the stage like this for every curricular activities of debate, recitation. I would come and stand and then run away crying because I forgot everything, seeing all the audience. One teacher believed in me, saw me, called me, and she said, I know you're interested in what's happening. I said, when I see people, I forget everything. I forget everything. She gave me techniques. She said, this is what is happening. She saw the barriers that I had, and I think I did justice to her by starting to participate and winning not all the prizes, but some prizes at least. That at least gave me something that, that I can do it. Choices. Typically, choices is a complexity of making decisions. One of the biggest challenges in life, even as a child. Do I wear this dress? Do I like this teacher? Do I like that teacher? We just asked some of the students, which is your favorite subject? So sports, these. So it's choices that we make and decisions we need to take forward. For me, it had a lot of personal values, societal expectations and emotions. So my life story goes like this. I completed my graduation in Bangalore. And the societal pressure on my parents were, get her married. She's ready for marriage. Nobody asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, nothing doing. I want to study. What? I want to become a teacher. But you can do it graduation. No, I want to study. What I want to study, I have no clue. But I want to study. But I think, and I thank to my parents who are here no more, that I'm glad I got married. Because I started with my master's just after my marriage. And that was a great opportunity I got. The consequences for me is after getting married. I chanced to get married, and one consequence was I got my master's in history. I moved on to Vadodara, and I'm glad I did it because I was so stubborn in not getting. It became very important for me to have a post-graduation because without that, you cannot do a Ph.D. Of course, again, it becomes a societal pressure, at least for some of us in the South or everywhere. After marriage, where's the child? What child? Who child? My child. That was my take. But I think I managed pretty well in doing it. Accountability and growth, I think it includes both positive and negative. A lot of time when we take a chance in our life, we need to be accountable whether it's positive or whether it's negative. What happens with several of us and with me sometimes was, when there was a negative impact, I shrunk back. I got scared. I said, I'm useless. I don't know anything. But I think that failure made me think and come out and say, that's okay. That was only one chance. I can have another chance in life. And I think I moved forward to do some of the things. I'm not saying I'm the best or achieved everything. But what I did with my full heart, full mind. I learned from mistakes because I think failures and mistakes contribute to your betterment. So the little story that I go, what Dr. Sandeep said was, this is a book I've just published called Musings, Anecdotes and Experiences. How did I start writing? I thought when I took up my first job after my PhD, that was way back in 1989, I was the best writer in the world. Only I could write, and that's what I did. So I wrote this very beautiful article, and I went and left it on the desk of my then boss, who was the ex-vice chancellor of the Maharaja Sayajirao University. So we had this little cubicle, so I went and left it on a desk, and she would come in at 10 o'clock. I was sitting in my side of the room, waiting. She came, and then she called, Annapoorna, come to my room. With full of joy, I jumped. She's going to praise me. She just took the paper and threw it on my face. I said, what? She said, what nonsense have you written? I said, I put 1 month's thing. And then I ran out crying, raving, ranting, saying this lady doesn't know anything. Went back to my room. Okay. Then the whole day was a bad day. I didn't perform well in office, and everybody would see me as a very joyful girl and enjoying, but that day was a bad day. I let it be I calmed down for 2 days, and after 2 days, I took up my article and I said, she didn't tell me what was bad. She just threw it on my face. I took it and I read and I said, oh my God, this is the worst article I've ever read in my life. I'm so glad I didn't share it with anyone else. I shared it with someone I thought will give. Believe it or not, on that day, I took an oath to myself, I'm going to write come what may. It can be rubbish, it can be anything, but I will write. I started writing in 1981, and the culmination of that is a collection of all my experiences, my blog articles, my own experiences, what the book is, and I'm so happy when I see the book. Yesterday I saw the dummy copy and I said, oh wow, did I do this? And I'm very happy with that. And this is one of the things, it's a small achievement, but the consequences of taking a chance in writing ended up in bringing out a book. What are the other choices? In an Indian scenario, we have a lot of cultural and social stigma. After you get married, you should focus on being a good mother, good wife, good daughter-in-law, good woman. No human being, no life. So, you should dive into getting a child. I said, I'm not even interested. And I always would like to thank my husband for that. And I did my PhD. My son was 8 months. I finished my master's. I did my PhD. That was a big revolt in my family because I went to Europe for a year for my fellowship. My PhD was in Indo-Portuguese history in the 16th century. So I had to go to Europe. So the main stigma in the family was, how can you leave your husband alone in Baroda? My child was left with my parents in Bangalore. He was 1.5-year-old, my son. You will never have that mother's bonding. You will never have that. I said, that's okay. I'll give birth to another child if I want to have bonding. But this I am going to do. I am not going to miss my fellowship. I had both the Gulbenkian Kalos Foundation Fellowship and the UGC Fellowship. My husband was my backbone for it. I said, if he is there and he has no qualms, I don't care for the other. Of course, I respected everyone. It's not that. And that's how my PhD was born. Alone in a place like Lisbon for 1 year, cold place, hot place, good people, but a lot of learning. And child, that time no computers, no mobile phones, I couldn't afford it. So I had to go to the post office and write a postcard to my husband, say, you know what, I'm calling on Sunday at such a time, you please be near the telephone in our neighbors, so because we didn't have a telephone at that time. This is something that I said, in life, you should grab the chance that you have. Don't worry about the consequences. You don't have to prove to others, but if you have it over here, prove it to yourself. Prove it to someone that you respect and you love and you want to prove. That is one thing. The other thing was inspiring change. I didn't know I could train corporate. I was always in an academic. I was always associated with NGOs. But when I joined a company for 7 years, they made me the director of training. I said, corporate, I have to go and train. My God, I can't even stand and talk. My boss at that time said, just go and do it. I'm so happy in that 7 years. I did about, I think, 30 to 35 corporate training, almost all of them successful, maybe one or two. I didn't meet the expectation of the customer, but that's okay. That's okay. Failure should be there because you improve yourself. And today, if I'm able to train government officers, IAS officers, faculty in training schools, government training schools, I would like to thank the chance I took. And I still remember my first corporate training where I was standing and suffering and saying, what can I do? The consequences that I felt was, it's something that happens after you do something. And for me, my extracurricular activities, the consequences of that was coming into reality, into the world. And I think all the youngsters over here, don't be afraid. Because I work with government, I work in a think tank. This is one of the things my ex-bosses said, don't be afraid. When you talk with data to the government, they will listen to you for policies. Don't be afraid to say you could do better because they're engaging with us just to do that. So my takeaway, I just want to go to the last slide, which I just read before coming. I love the vision statement of your school, which says, our vision is to preserve the natural curiosity of children, which is chance, and promote creativity of individuals to develop a community of committed. That is the consequence of the chance they take in investing in you all. I want to finish with this is, I love the words that are highlighted. Jain School allows self-discovery in a multitude of age-appropriate activities. They do not teach individual subject in a compartment, which is fantastic, I think. In a manner, we encourage them to be thinkers, and that's what the future is required in this world. Be a thinker, take a chance, don't worry about the consequences. Thank you very much for being a patient audience, and thank you for the audience.